Hi guys, and welcome to Lesson 31. Today we are learning about slope. Now, in your last lesson, Lesson 30, you guys were working with graphs. So I went ahead and drew a graph here. I chose 2 points and I drew a line. In Lesson 30, you used an equation like this one to find your points. Oops. Y equals 2x plus 2. This equation is the equation for this graph. In Lesson 30, we're going to be working with slope, okay? So y equals mx plus b, that's the slope point formula, or slope intercept form. So we're going to see how is actually the value of our slope, okay? So what is slope? We're going to use slope, which is the letter M, equals the rise of our graph over the run. So we can see that the rise is going to go up and down, just like the y-axis goes up and down. The run is horizontal, just like the x-axis is horizontal. So I'm going to show you on this graph what it would look like to have the slope. So these are going to be my points. I've got one here, I've got one here, I've got one here, I've got one here, okay? So if I look at this, my slope, I'm going to go up 1, 2, and then over 1, okay? So I'm going up 2, and then I'm going to go over 1, okay? So it's up 2 over 1. Up 2, my rise is 2, run is 1. Up 2, over 1, up 2, over 1. Okay, so my rise is a positive 2, my run is a positive 1. So my slope equals 2 over 1. A simpler way to write 2 over 1 is just 2. And we see that our slope does actually match the position of the 2 here in this equation. Okay? Okay. I want to show you something else too. So I did go ahead and just, because I knew my slope was 2, so I knew I could go up 2 and over 1 and I could find all my points. I'm going to do a t-graph, or a t-table though, because that's what you guys are used to. So if I go ahead and I do my t-table, and I go x and y, and I start with a 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2. Okay, I'm just going to plug my x in for x. I have 2 times 2 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. I'll do this over here. Oops, my marker doesn't want to write. 2 times 1 plus 2 is 4. 2 times 0 plus 2 is 2. 2 times negative 1 plus 2, that's negative 2 plus 2, that's a 0. Then I have 2 times negative 2 plus 2, that's negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to see if that's right. I have 2, 6, oh my 6 is actually up here, but if I go up 2 and over 1, that's going to put me at 2, and that would be a 6, because I have a 5 here and a 6 here. Okay, I have 1, 4, 0, 2, negative 1, 0, negative 2, negative 2, and then my next one, because I know the slope, I can just do this, and it's going to be negative 3, negative 4. Okay, do you guys see how that works? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and erase that. That's how we would find a positive slope if we have a negative slope. And I'm not going to put all the lines on it this time. I'm just going to put little marks like this. look, I remembered my negative signs this time. Yay! Okay, so let's say that I have a negative slope. So let's say I have y equals negative x plus 1. Okay, so a negative slope means with this I'm going to go down. My graph is going to be going this way. So if it's negative x plus 1. So there's that. And then it's negative, so that'd be 1. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Okay? So you can see here that on this one, if my point is here, I'm going to go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1. Okay? Because my slope here is a negative 1, because if I just had that, that's x. Negative x has a negative 1 in front of it. So my slope equals negative 1. If I'm doing a rise over run, it's going to look like this. My rise, it's going down, so it's a negative 1 over 1. Okay? And if I was to stick my numbers in here, I'll go 2, 1, 0, 1, 2. So negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1, negative 1 plus 1, 0 plus 1, negative 1 plus 1. Oh, wait a minute, let me try this. Haha. The opposite of negative 1, so it's going to be 2, and that's going to be 3. So if I come over here, I can see that I do have 2, negative 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay, and it does follow the slope. Okay? So that's how, oh, and I want to do one more. What if I have a fraction for my slope? Remember that it's rise over run. So if I have, let's say, y equals 2/3 x plus 3. Well, my slope is going to be 2/3, okay? Because it's going to be this number right here. And that means that my points, when I'm graphing, I'm going to go up 2, and I'm going to go over 3, okay? So let me erase this line. So let me see. If I put a 3 in there, an easy way to do this for my x and y is I'm going to choose values to cancel out the 3 on the bottom. So I might do 6, 3, 0, negative 3, and negative 6, okay? So my first one would be 6. So if I do, let me erase this so I have a little bit more space here. So if I do 2/3 times 6 plus 3, that's going to give me 7. Okay, so I have 6, 7, so that's going to be up here. Okay, oops. Okay. 3 is going to be, it's going to cancel out my 3, so I have 2/3 times 3 plus 3. That's going to give me 5. 0 is going to give me 3. Negative 3 is going to be negative 2 plus 3. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 plus 3. It's going to be a 1. You can see a pattern. Each one is 2 less. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Okay. So if I go ahead and graph these, I have 3 and 5. What did I do? You know what I did? I didn't erase this line, this point from my other graph, and that's why this looks funky to me. It should actually be more like this. Okay? So I have I'll have 3, 5, which would be here, 0, 3, negative, yeah, you can, anyway, it's going to work because I drew a really distorted graph. So if I was going to do these points, this point is 0, 3. This is 3, 5. And this is 6, 7. So you can see I have to go up 3 to get from 0 to 3. I have to go up 3. To get from 3 to 5, I have to go over 2. Okay? Actually, I did that backwards, didn't I? It's going to be up 2 and over 3. I'm so sorry, it's late at night. Okay, so our slope is our rise over our run, which is going to be our y's over our x's. So it's going to be a difference of, to get from 3 to 5, I'm going to go 2. And to get from 0 to 3, I'm going to go 3. So you can see that when we graph it out, these two numbers match. Okay, so that gives us a really good clue about which way our graph is going to go, if it's going to be going up or if it's going to be going down. You can learn, figure out a lot from your graph by the equation that they give you, and vice versa. All right. All right. The other thing that they want you to know how to do is how to find, if you know the slope, or if you know 2 points, you can find the slope. So here we have a graph. And we have the points 3, 6, and 4, 8. So we want to know the slope of a line that has these 2 points. So let's say this is 1, 2, 3, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be right here is 3, 6. Here's 4, here's 8, 4. Okay, so I have 3, 6, and I have 4, 8. And they want you to find the slope of that line. So what are we going to do? What we're going to do is we're going to take these 2 points and we're going to look at them, okay? This is point number 1. This is point number 2. So I'm just going to write under here, this is point 1, and this is point 2, okay? So we know that each point has an x, and it has a y, right? So since we have 2 points that have x's and y's, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to call point 1, it's going to have a little 1 down here by the x, and a little 1 down here by the y. All that means is that this x and y goes with our first point. Okay, this is point 2. And we're going to stick a little 2 down here by the x and a little 2 down here by the y. That little 2 on the bottom of each of these just says this x coordinate goes with point 2 and this y coordinate goes with point 2. And it keeps it in order, okay? So we're not mixing up our x's and y coordinates and getting a really confusing answer. So we keep them in order. Point 1, so this would be, so 3 would really be, this would be x1, this would be y1, this would be x2, and this would be y2. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to erase this down here. The reason that's important is because when you're finding the slope from points, you want to find out how far it is from this point to this point. Okay, so what we do is we say, okay, we're starting at this point, we're going to this point. How far do I have to travel to get from here to here? Okay, so the slope is the rise, which is your y's, right? It's the y coordinates over your run, which is the x coordinates. Okay? Now the way we find the difference in how far we have to go is we say, we have 2 points, we're going to take our second point y minus our first point y. That's going to be our rise, and this is going to be our run. We're going to do the same thing with the x's. Okay? Then I'll just take my numbers, and I have m equals y2, which is 8, minus y1, which is 6. Okay, and then I'm going to go x1 or x2 minus x1, and that's going to give me 2 over 1, so my slope is 2. Okay? And all that means is